Are you aware of the disruption your beauty causes? Parthenope was written and directed by Paolo Sorrentino, who's done films like The Hand of God and Youth, and takes place in the beautiful country of Italy, with the equally beautiful Celeste or Celeste Della Porta, who plays the titular character Parthenope, who was born in 1950, and we basically smash cut to 1968, where she is a bright, fresh-faced, but very, very smart 18-year-old that basically is the apple of every man's eye. Any man that comes across her, that's not a euphemism, wants to be with her. This also applies to some women as the film goes on. She's just a temptress, she's a siren, however you want to go about it, but she's also very smart. She's very learned. She's reading books. She's taking a look. It's in a book, A Parthenope Rainbow. And she ends up actually being an author that she's reading the books of some time later, played by Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman, I think, was only needed on set for a couple days because he's just in and out of this goddamn movie really quickly. He also looked like he needed a nap during pretty much every scene that he was in, which is not that many. That being said, I love Gary Oldman. John Baptiste, Emmanuel, Zorg. So, we basically get to see over a number of years her with various men, also dealing with tragedy, and trying to become an anthropologist with a Professor Marotta, I believe is the name of the character. There are other Italian names mentioned in the cast that I will not try to pronounce because I probably butchered everything already. And I will say that there is gorgeous cinematography. There are some shots in the beginning of this that are fucking beautiful. Gorgeous color scheme. Vibrant, vivid, tremendous. There is a shot of a carriage that's absolutely great, but just the picturesque look of the Italian coast. And also Miss Celeste, she's gorgeous. I mean, she is gorgeous. And there are elements to her character that could have led this film into having a strong female protagonist, that don't need no man. She just needs to stand up for herself, fight beauty standards. Also, she wants to become very learned, and all this stuff is going on. And the movie ends up, trying to go that route. So this was picked up for distribution by A24, and A24 has had its share of misfires in the past few years. No studio can bat 1,000. But more often than not, decent to fucking incredible is usually how I grade their movies. Also, Neon Studios, kind of the same thing, but they've had some misfires as well. The whole point is, this looked very, very artsy. I had like one shot to catch this in theaters, and just because of scheduling conflicts, I wasn't able to go. It was only playing like 40 miles away from me, and I just didn't end up going because of that. So now it's out on Max. I was able to sit down, I was able to finally see what this movie has to offer. Well, it doesn't have much to offer beyond the cinematography and Miss Celeste's performance, which at times works, and other times they keep pulling back from letting her actually be the central character that, could propel this movie. It just feels like they wanted to make her somebody powerful, whether, this is based on any real life stuff or not, and it just ended up pulling back on that. And also, this is not like La Cometa, which was a great Italian movie, and is not set too much further in the future, compared to this. This is set like 73 to 75, stuff like that, maybe a little bit later. But it's set over just a few years, and unfortunately the movie just ends up not realizing, its potential and doesn't know what it wants to be. You could have cut 30 to 35 minutes off of this movie and you wouldn't have missed shit. There are slow-mo parts in the beginning where I'm like, yes, I know we're supposed to make it like the Italian men are checking out all these women. Okay, great, but she's the apple of everyone's eye. And it tries to do oh, she's going to go here. Oh, she's going to do this. Oh, she's going to do this. And there are so many unanswered questions. So I have a question for anybody that is Italian that happened to watch this. Does this do the Italian, filmmaking industry? Does this capture the spirit right? Does it capture the time period right? Please let me know in the comments because I'm genuinely curious. Because I love Italian movies. 18 Presidents was phenomenal. Still makes me cry to this very day. Monica Bellucci is a fucking godsend, a goddess, and an absolute beauty. And there are some great Italian horror movies and some great films that come out from that country. There have been misfires, but every country has it. Lord knows America does. The thing is, the film just feels at times stretched out, but also incomplete. It feels like it doesn't justify its runtime one bit. There's the stuff of ageism, if there's one point where a character named Commander not the wrestler. Deep Cut for AEW fans says to her, if I was 40 years younger, would you marry me? She says, let me spin this on you. If I was 40 years older, would you marry me? Men always look for youth. We do. I mean, not to that extent. Nobody should look for it for that extent. But if somebody's, say, 40 and they want to date somebody that's 30, that's one thing. But yeah, that's a bit of an age difference. So there are ideas they could have explored. They just didn't bother to do it. And then there's also one part halfway through that totally lost me. And then a part near the end that just made me think, okay, A24 definitely wanted to pick this up for distribution because, A24, your weirdness knows no bounds. It doesn't have a lot to say while thinking that it has a deeper message. And I think that's really the ultimate failure of Parthenope. So that being said, it's on Max. If you want to check it out, I'm going to get into spoilers. So there you are. That's all I really have to say. 3, 2, 1, and spoilers now. So yeah, it's very Italian. Get the subtitles ready. It's a girl. I know these things. The commander says. And there are some kind of funny lines, but the thing is a cultural difference, translation, whatever. Just it doesn't hit. And I had to really figure out how to say the name Parthenope, and I probably got it wrong. So there's also some incest implied in this, which I'm sorry, I don't care what time period this is. If you are into that shit, if that is something that you can just let slide by, you're freaks. You're freaks. You don't do that with blood. You don't do that. Well, what the fuck? What the fuck, Italy? What the fuck? I mean, I thought the French had the thing cornered on that. Well, let's just offend every country here. The Deep South certainly has that here. But anyway, there's a part where she's in the carriage. This carriage that I guess was used for something. I guess the carriage is supposed to be a virginity metaphor, I believe. May I come inside is a line? No, but you can, you may circle the carriage. Which, because I think that was her brother, if I remember right saying that. Or maybe it was another guy. Sandy was her first love. I don't know. Some of these guys started to look the same. She's very smart in addition to being hot. She says to the professor, I don't know everything, but I like everything. Yeah, her brother is hitting on her, and just, again, the incest. Why? Just why? Gary Oldman is there in 1973, looking like he's about 1973 years old at this point, and I like looking like an old man, har har. So, nevertheless, he basically is an author, I think. He's somebody. Well, he is. Well, I mean, he is an author, but I don't know if he's actually written anything lately. He doesn't act like much of an author. He did say, I don't want to steal 1 minute of your youth. He said beauty is like a war. It opens doors. Because she was reading his book earlier, so of course he would be an author. There are things in this movie I probably should have retained better, but the movie just wasn't interesting. A rich man keeps trying to get her to go with him. Even flying a helicopter over, because I guess you could just do that shit in Italy without getting shot down. The music is very good. There's a rendition, there's Frank Sinatra's I Did It My Way. There are other great Italian, pieces in this. There's vibrant cinematography, at least for the first hour. Like, I mean, it really does start to lose itself in the last hour, I would say. And she gets an offer from a woman named Flora to be in film. Unfortunately, might be the wrong kind of film. And meanwhile, she's continuing her studies. She graduates with honors. 110 out of 110, because apparently that is the system they had in Italy, or still have in Italy, I don't know. Apparently there's very smart people in Italy. They need an extra 10 points, because we have idiots over here. So, the brother, by the way, takes his own life. And I thought that was implied when he was like he was on the gate and looking up and everything, and there was a point where it shows her fucking some guy in the water, and I think maybe her brother saw that, or did. Just all these scenes are just so jammed together. If you're looking for answers as to what this movie is about, I'm probably not the best person, because I'm not deep into the Italian lore. I'm just giving my interpretation of this stuff, so I do apologize. But there's then this actress that Flora had talked about that was her husband's favorite, Greta Cool. She shows up on a boat that, yeah. She shows up there for some reason. Just before that, Flora, for whatever reason, wants to kiss her, but wants to keep her face covered except for her lips because she had a botched surgery, I guess, even though we just saw her a bit ago. But I guess a Brazilian effed up her face, and I hope it didn't cost $1 Brazilian. Har har. So, the problem with this is, it just meanders. The movie meanders. There's this one point where this Greta, cool actress, gets in an argument about Neapolitans, people from Naples, calling them every name in the book, essentially. And then this guy that looks like he should be in goddamn Munchkin Land hands her a check, but she wanted $30 million, but he gave her a check for $1 million. That's quite a discrepancy. So she slaps him, hits him a bit, and then he rips off her wig. Now, I don't know if this is supposed to be funny. I laughed, but I also wondered what was going on. She hands her the wig back, talks to her a bit, and then there's a guy named Roberto they go to Naples and see some stuff in alleyways, like a bond between two crime families where they're going to take a girl from one and a boy from the other and have them fuck in front of them to produce a kid. Is this something they do in Italy? If so, you guys are freaks. What the hell? Anybody who does this is freaks. Just a bunch, whatever. By the way, fireworks are going off in the background. I don't know if that's a euphemism or what. So she graduates with honors, as I said. There are some protests in one scene. I'm sure that had historical significance for those that really knew about it. While she's crying about... She wants to learn about this stuff, but she's also torn up about her brother. So she ended up fucking this guy, and she ends up actually getting pregnant, and she gets an illegal... Yeah, she terminates it. I don't know if that word can be flagged, but I'm going to err on the side of caution. So, she doesn't blame herself for the death of her brother. She blames this guy Sandrino Valley, I believe, because he was very affectionate towards her, but her brother was upset because he couldn't have her. Whatever, it's fine. This movie frustrated me after a while, and there was a running thing between the professor and her. He says, I will never judge you and you will never judge me. No matter what we're going through, I will help you. He wants her to be his understudy. She gets an offer to go talk to this priest guy that paints his head to color his hair. God, things are primitive, I guess, for priests or cardinals or whatever he's supposed to be. There's some weird ritual where a lady suddenly has her menstrual cycle, but then says, this San Gennaro. San Gennaro, Miss Gennaro. Yeah, it's Die Hard. It's tying into the Die Hard universe at this point. Makes as much sense as anything else in this. So, this guy, I'm just going to call him Tesso because I know that he has more to his name, but Tesso's just funnier. He hits on her really creepily, but then is she turning the tables and hitting on him? What is going on? Because the professor decided to warn her about him being a creep and the devil. Why was he in a Speedo? Why did we get that scene? You know what that scene is. Why did we get that scene? Whatever. She looked great, all bedazzled. She could have been a Noxuna Moon. She looked fucking incredible. You asked about what do you think about everything else, time that flows alongside pain, I guess. I felt pain while watching that scene. All right, so now she basically is going to take over for the professor, because that's something that he'd been wanting her to do for a while, because he saw potential in her. Oh, and he has a son that makes a lot of noises. She goes in, and the son apparently is Kingpin, mixed with Majin Buu, mixed with Jabba the Hutt. Why? Why? Who? For what reason? What in the world? The more I think about this movie, the more I hate it. And I don't know necessarily if I'm supposed to hate it. Maybe I'm supposed to. Maybe there is a deeper meaning that Americans just don't understand. But based on the fact that I'm seeing a lot of reviews from Italy that aren't very positive, I don't know if it's necessarily just me. So, yeah, she sees a giant. And you have to, if you watch this movie, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. It's just, that probably cost a ton of money just to have prosthetics and effects like that and whatever. But then, boom, old Parthenope, who's going over all the stuff that she did. And one thing that she did earlier when she was the understudy is she passed a girl just enough while she was pregnant because she wanted to help her out and felt that if she didn't help her out, she'd have a baby, she wouldn't come back, and she would never be able to achieve her dream. Maybe this would push her along. And then she sees another girl, I think that's supposed to be pregnant, kind of looked like the same woman, might have been the daughter of the woman that was sitting in the goddamn room for all I goddamn know, because I don't really care at this point. And she's old, and she gets a send-off party, I guess, because people are happy for her. Maybe she retired. And then she has a bunch of flashbacks of stuff that she did, because love is fleeting, life is fleeting, kids, remember that, and there you go. It tried for the I'm still here thing of like having, you know, how Fernando Torres's character was in this time period, and then boom, we shoved to like the very end. The difference is I'm Still Here was a really good movie, and Parthenope is really shit. I'm sorry, it is really shit. It might end up climbing up the worst films of the year list because I just didn't get it. I look forward to the hatred I'll get in the goddamn comments because people will call me a stupid American for not getting it, but what did I not get about it? What images, what deep narrative did I not get about this, if there was one? Or am I right? I feel I'm right because I'm me. Anyway, agree, disagree what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. And I'm John Ritlin. Until we meet again, happy trails to you.